In the 1950s, that's how we thought of schizophrenia, in terms of communication. We would try to understand what they were saying in their metaphors and how it related to their living situation.
I was talking to a psychiatric resident who said, if you're interested in communication, you should talk to this guy, a patient. So I started talking to the patient. He said he was from Mars, that his mother was, that his name was Margaret Truman, or Margaret Stalin or somebody. But nobody knew who he was. He'd been in a state hospital, and I began to talk to him. And he had an interesting way of talking. And he had an extraordinary skill with words for a guy who had a third-grade education. He was a migratory laborer, is what he was.
Now, see, I hold them there like that. I don't really actually know the contents of that letter. But I'll open up the contents of it and read to you. What it says.
Why do you want to do that?
Because I want to show you how I do things. Here's a letter to me. It's from the president of Mexico School in Chicago.
This young man might have been the cause of family therapy, even though his family had disappeared at this time and was not available for therapy. As the Bateson group began to study his special ways of communicating, we decided to investigate people called schizophrenic. That led to interviewing families with a member diagnosed schizophrenic, as well as other types of families, and attempting to change them and relieve their distress.
And for nearly 60 years...
Hey, Earl, why are you reading this letter?
Because I want to show you.
What are you trying to show
I'm
me?
talking about.
Talking about what?
Oh, I'm opening the letter up and reading it.
You can
I'm
open
reading the letter.
We started on a concern with perception, that could he perceive correctly or not, which is the way people were thinking of schizophrenia then. Then we shifted more to how this was a communication to somebody else. It wasn't just his perception, and that it was a metaphor which he was creating. And that got us interested in the metaphors of schizophrenia. And we were studying schizophrenia, so we got interested in whether there was a similarity between schizophrenia and hypnotic phenomena, because you could produce hallucinations with hypnosis. You can produce voices. You can have them hear voices. Anything that a schizophrenic can do, you can do with hypnosis, with a normal person. So we got interested in, was there a parallel between the way a hypnotist worked with a subject to produce this and the way parents raised the child who became schizophrenic? Milton Erickson, the master, I learned hypnosis from him, and he was the hypnotist of the country, the medical hypnotist of the country. We spent time with him talking about differences and similarities between trance experience and schizophrenia and so on.
And now take a deep breath and feel wide awake and refreshed and energetic. By the way, what is your name? Pat. What is it? Pat? Do you always keep your hand up in midair like that?
No, not usually.
Well, why are you keeping it up there now? You don't know?
This is an example of the subtle use of communication by Erickson. He would awaken subjects and they would still be in a trance. Apparently he said to awake, but actually he said the subject should feel like she was awake. She feels awake while still in the trance.
We investigated